Hi, how's everyone doing? Has everyone had a good end of their week, start to their weekend? I hope so. We have over here, I don't know about where you guys are in the country, but it's pretty darn cold here. And a good way to warm up is with soup, which is going to be our entree of the week. It's going to be an apple cheddar squash soup. Let's get to it. It's time for another episode of Cooking with Kaitlin. That's me. Enjoy! Alright, we're starting by prepping our vegetables. Got potatoes. This one was just so tiny, it wasn't going to work for anything else, so I just thought we'll just bulk up a little. You really only need one. But we've peeled it, and actually we have reserved our peels for when we make soup stock a little later this month. So if you want to plan ahead and do the same, please feel free. But yeah, that was just so tiny that I was like, well, we'll just add it. It won't add that much bulk, but really just one potato. That's what I'll be putting in the instructions. But yeah, just dicing them up. Oh, they fly everywhere. All right. Then we've got our onions. Well, really just our onion. But we've already peeled it. We put that peel in with the bag to do the soup stock too. They're just nice thin slices, or thinner slices anyway. Right, I'll check back when we get on to the next step. All right, we've also peeled 2 apples that we are now going to slice up. I also saved the apple peels in my bag for my soup stock because I've got a ham bone in there. Apples go well with that. And since it's already getting paired with a few of the things in there, it should go just fine. Should still taste good for the soup stock. And just a little bit of a different flavor. All right, so we're just going to do a thin slice to these apples, like we've done before for other things. And I will note that we will be putting all of this through, I'll see the size and decide, either blender or food processor. Or if you have an immersion blender, that is cool. I do not have one of those. Might be an investment for this year. But that's what you're doing, just going the real thin slices for both your apples, and we will check back after I'm done doing that. All right, in our pot we have melted 4 tablespoons of butter. Might even be able to hear that sizzle. All right, now we're going to add all our vegetables. I'm going to take the spoon out so it doesn't trip it up. And our apples, which are actually a fruit, not a vegetable. I do know the difference, I promise. Oops, sorry guys, didn't mean to knock you there. Again. Then our final vegetable, which we didn't cut up because they didn't have it, really have any fresh, but we're able to use frozen for it as an option, is a butternut squash. Yep. Just kind of microwaved it because it was frozen. Just enough for it to not be frozen. So it'll cook with the rest. And that's good. Very yummy. You guys are like, why are you still talking? So it's about 1.5 cups of the butternut squash. Don't fall, don't fall. I'm going to give this a good stir. We're gonna add our salt, and then our pepper. First round we can add throughout. Remember, seasoning at different times helps enhance different types of flavors within. Just making sure all that seasoning gets mixed up. Now we're going to let it cook for about 8 minutes, giving it the occasional stir, letting all the vegetables, well, squash is already pretty soft. It's really the onions we're focusing on right now. The potatoes are going to take longer to get to that nice soft stage, but that is what we're doing. So we'll check back in about 8 minutes. All right, it's been about 8 minutes. The onions are getting nice and tender. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of sage, 2 tablespoons of flour, and then 1/3 cup of apple cider. Now, I know a lot of people don't just have apple cider on hand. We honestly just have apple cider mix that we put in with our apple juice. Most stores sell something to that effect. If you don't just have apple cider, if you don't like apple cider enough to want to have it around, or you don't think you can drink it all right away, which I very much understand. All right, so we're getting that nice and stirred. We're seeing some of the veggies kind of breaking down. We're actually going to turn our heat up. It's supposed to be on a higher heat. This point, so we're getting that going. You may have heard the oven beep. I'm actually toasting up some bread to go with this when it's done, which you can do too. It's totally up to you. All right, now we're going to add in a cup of milk, and then 4 cups of chicken broth. Which is 32 ounces, which is the size of the chicken broth I bought. So I knew I could just add it all in. Add a little bit more salt and pepper at this time. We're going to get this, we want this to come up to a simmer. While that's happening, on this back pan over here, going to melt a tablespoon of butter, and we're going to be crisping up some prosciutto. Oh yes, should be awfully tasty to go on top. Of course, if you do not like prosciutto, you do not like, don't eat meat or anything, you do not have to do this. We like prosciutto, we like our meat, so we will be having it. Just waiting on this to become simmering, because then we want to let it simmer. We're waiting for that to come to a boil. Once it's to a boil, we'll let it simmer for about 8 to 10 minutes. We're just waiting on it to get there. Okay. going to cover this to kind of help it bring to a boil a little faster. Then I might actually move you guys over here while we do the prosciutto, because it should not take too long. But I'm going to let the butter melt first. All right. Now we're going to crisp up our prosciutto. Just need a couple of ounces. It's fairly thin, so we're just kind of crisping it up on each side a little bit, and then we're going to drain it and do it for a few different slices. Probably wind up using all of ours for it, but it's supposed to be about 2 ounces. We have about 3. But I know me and the hubby. And that's getting close to a boil over there. We're just going to let it kind of crisp up about a minute on each side. Then flipping. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys. I'm going to move you guys back. All right, so see it's boiling, so we're going to reduce it to a simmer now. We'll cover it back up, but give it an occasional stir every couple of minutes. We'll check back in about 8 to 10 minutes on that. All right, so it's done. Actually took more like 12 minutes. And since I've got to do it through the blender, I'm going to put it all initially into this. So I make sure I get it all done and don't miss anything. Just giving everything in here seemed likelier. So we're going to do this, then we're going to add in our cheese, and then it should be ready to serve. So yay! I want to get all this done. Alright, so I'm just got the blender here. I'm going to fill it up, then I'll show you just kind of doing one round of it. Alright. Alright, it's gonna total. It is hot. So just gonna kind of do a stir through. Make sure, don't feel any lumps. And pour that back into the pot that's not on the burner just yet. And do the other half, and I'll check back after that is all done. Alright, so we got it all nicely pureed. We're going to add 2 cups of cheddar, sharp cheddar. Let that melt and blend in. And after that's done, you'll just want to give it a taste test because that'll be it. We'll just be serving it after this. So you want to see if you want to add any more salt or pepper, maybe a little more sage, what have you. We're getting all that cheese nicely blended in. You want to be able to lift and not see like a clump of it or kind of that thing going. Should melt fairly quickly because this is still pretty hot. I didn't even turn the burner back on. I just set it here. It's all very hot. The burner still has heat to it. See, the cheese is melting right on in. No problemo. Smells really good. All right. I think it tastes good for us. Again, just do a taste test for yourself. All right, we'll serve it up one sec. All right. So we're going to ladle us some of our soup into our bowl. Realizing the way I'm holding it's going to burn my finger, so we're going to change that. All right. One sec. All right, we're just gonna put some chives in there. You could do fresh, or we've just got them dried, so that's what we're gonna use. Break up some of our crispy prosciutto, kind of top it there. Oh, it's all so tasty. Then we've got bread to serve it with. So there we are. Bon appetit. Catch you later.